Hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Bryndís, and today I'm talking about the books I finished reading this last week, and what I'm currently reading. I also have a little bit of a tiniest bit of a book haul, and I've also decided to join in the Read What You Own challenge. I will talk about that later. First, what I have finished reading this week. So last time I talked to you, what was I reading last time I talked to you? Yes, I was reading this. So this is Rósa and Björk by Satu Ramö. I always forget to look up how they pronounce these letters in Finnish, but I think it's Ramö. But anyway, I think it's translated to English like this, and although I've also seen the translation with just the names, like Rósa and Björk, who are the two sisters of Hildur, who is the main character, main detective. So this is a detective thriller. It's the second book in her series. Satu is a Finnish author, but who has lived in Iceland for a very long time, and actually in my hometown. So a lot of the things happening here take place in my hometown. And I'm sure that is part of why I absolutely love these books. I think they are really good thrillers. They're very suspenseful. And then there's like the drama, the personal drama that the characters are going through, the detectives and the kind of the murderer and the victims. So everything is, it's very thrillery, but it's really well done. I think so. When I was like updating my reading on Goodreads, I actually saw that it got like 1 and 2 and 3 stars, and I'm like, so I don't know. For me, this is more or less the perfect thriller. Like, I don't expect my thrillers that I really love to be Nobel Prize worthy literature, but it's really good. It's well written. It's a really good plot, good characters. It's like good balance between kind of the personal drama of the two main characters, Hildur and Jacob, and the interesting like murder mystery as well. So this was a 5-star thriller for me for sure, like very good. I'm very happy that I read it, and I read it in like 2.5 sittings basically. It's like 373 pages, and I think in one of the sittings I read like 250 pages. I just like devoured it. It's a quick read, but it's still not. It's not like yeah. I loved it. I enjoyed it. I recommend it if you like thrillers for sure. And so that was a fun read. And then that's your no. I almost forgot, because last week I actually forgot to mention that I had started reading The Thursday Murder Club by, is it Richard Osman? And I'm listening to it as an audiobook, and I finished it as well. So that one, I really enjoyed that. I thought it was really fun. I mean, the humor in it is fantastic, and these old people like trying. There was a joke there that I thought was just hilarious. It made me laugh out loud. They were like protesting because there was some plan of moving a graveyard or demolishing a graveyard or something to build, and the old people in the retirement village were protesting it. So they were there and there was this guy in his 90s, like with his walker and his staff or something, like my time has finally come, because he was too young in the war, Second World War, to be enlisted. So finally his time had come. I thought that was absolutely hilarious. And there were definitely several of these absolutely hilarious little kind-hearted making fun of old people, I think. So if you don't know, the Thursday Murder Club is like the protagonists are people in their 70s and 80s, and they have this different type of backgrounds. I think one was probably like a spy, or I don't know. One was some sort of a brilliant professor person, and so they have different type of backgrounds, and they meet every Thursday to solve murders. I think hypothetical or fictional murders, but then a murder takes place around their retirement village where they live, and they start to try to solve that. And then there are the two detectives that kind of are obviously officially solving the murder, and everything that happens around that. It's been made, I think, into, is it a movie or it's the Netflix series with Helen Mirren. I haven't seen that, the TV adaptation, but I have seen like a poster of them and like pictures or whatever. And so every time I was thinking of Elizabeth, I could just see Helen Mirren. And I think was it Abraham? Was that his name? And then I could just see oh my God, what's his name? This actor. And so I really need to watch those. But I really enjoyed it. I have to say, I also earlier this year, I read The Marlowe Murder Club, and I actually liked those books better than at least this first of the Thursday Murder Club. I really liked Marlowe. Or The Marlowe Murders? No, The Marlowe Murder Club, I think it's called. That one was really good, and I actually have some of those. Yes, The Marlowe Murder Club, yeah. So I have a couple of books in that series. I like that more than this one, but I do have two of the Richard Osman. I have the Man That Died Twice and The Shot That Missed. I don't know. These are the Icelandic translation. Ibrahim. Sorry, his name was Ibrahim. So I want to read them, probably though with the audiobook, because I kind of enjoy the narrator. It's in Icelandic as well. But it was fun, good entertainment, 4 stars. So now to what I'm currently reading. So I'm going to show you what I'm physically reading. So I'm trying to get back to that kind of balance of having an audiobook and then a physical book at the same time. I use 2 books is enough for me at the same time. At least 2 fiction books. So I am reading the Book of Guilt. And this was a recommendation from Ellen at Ellen Made Book Club. Fantastic recommendation. This book, I am about maybe 1/3 in, or even like a little bit less, 1/4 probably. And it is so fascinating. It's like, I don't think I want to even tell you what it's about, other than that we have 3 boys, triplets, William, Vincent, and something, and who live in this boys' home, but there are only the 3 of them there left of the children. They are like 13, 14 years old. And then there are 3 women who take care of them. There's Mother Day, Mother Night, and Mother Afternoon. No, Mother Morning, Mother Night, and Mother Afternoon, something like that, who are the caretakers. And then there is this very mysterious, like nefarious, that's the word, doctor who comes and visits regularly. And they get these medicines because they apparently have a sickness that comes and goes. And it takes place in England, close to London, in what I would say an alternative historical timeline. Like if something had happened differently at some point in our history in Europe, or in the world really, but in Europe specifically, if that had changed, it had not happened the way it did, and this is the result basically. And this takes place, I think, in the 80s. rather than 70s. So, but it's so good. Whew! And I'm just like, there is this, Ellen said that it was kind of a similar vibe as Piranesi, and I can see that. It's like, you're like, what is going on? What are you people doing? What? It's so good. So hopefully I will be done with it by next week, but we'll see. I'm hoping that this is the start now of my weekly updates, but anyway, really good. I really like it, and I'm listening to it as an audiobook, and it's just very well narrated. And then now that I finished my thriller, which I was reading physically, I need a new physical book, and it actually worked out really well because I've been reading Barton. Well, I started to read Barton by Elizabeth Gaskell. I hated the audiobook that was available in my audiobook app. I thought it was absolutely ridiculous the way it was done, but anyway. So I started to listen to the audiobook on YouTube, which is in the public domain. And YouTube, the app on my phone, and the way that YouTube, the app works, doesn't fit with my the way I listen to audiobooks. So I just got annoyed after like 2 chapters and decided I'm just gonna read this book physically because it's starting off really well. Of course, I love almost everything Elizabeth Gaskell has written that I've read. So I want to read this book, and so it hooked me already. But this copy that I have is just, I don't know. It's just it's not a nice copy to read from. It's very, like, it's not necessarily that the letters are very small, but it's just, there's something about the feel of it. It's very like into the margins, and so I was just like, So, cue my book haul. I went into my university bookstore, and there I found this copy. So this is Barton in the Oxford University Press edition, Oxford World's Classic. And it is, I mean, there isn't really a lot of difference. It's a tiny more room in the margins, and just, but I think the letters are the same size and everything. But there's something about this book that feels better than this book, which is weird because this is kind of a glossy and this is kind of matte. So you would think that the matte would be more comfortable to hold. But anyway, I got this. So this one is I'm unhauling this edition. And I have now the Oxford Classics edition of Barton. I'm only managed to finish 2 chapters. So I'm in chapter 3 now. Barton's mother is in labor, having her baby. So yeah, it's starting off really well. I'm very excited about it. But like I said, I don't know how long it's gonna take me to read it, but yeah, I will let you know how I'm progressing next week with these 2 books, The Book of Guilt and Barton. Those are my books kind of on the go. And then I have to show you my little book haul because I went to the university bookstore. I am on a book buying ban, by the way. I'm not buying books, but I couldn't help myself. I mean, it was like almost Halloween, so they had this really like Halloween-y kind of a display with some books, and they had this book, Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, Oxford Penguin Classic, sorry. And I've read Frankenstein and I love it. I think it's fantastic, but I had this copy of it on my shelves. And I mean, this is Signature Classics. It's a very nice, copy. There's nothing wrong with this. But I'm just a little bit of a book snob, and I thought Penguin Classics obviously is just superior. And this is a book I want on my shelves always, forever. So I decided to buy it, and it was quite affordable. So this one is also being unhauled. But that was my little book haul, just Mary Barton and Frankenstein. And talking about book hauls and not buying books, the Read What You Own challenge, I've decided to take part in that. I have been brutal throughout this year getting rid of books. I think I've gotten rid of around 100 or even over 100 books, unhauled them. In 2024, I went insane and I bought so many books, majority, thankfully, in the charity shop, but also a lot of new books. And I just lost complete control of my book buying. Now, first of all, I want to say there is absolutely nothing wrong with buying books and having lots of books all over your place. Like, I love that when sometimes I see in backgrounds or some videos when there's this like books thrown everywhere. I think that's fantastic. But I live in a very small apartment and I can really only realistically keep my books on this wall. I have two kind of wings of these bookshelves. To that side, I could fit one more kind of wing. To have one more like that, and that would be good. And I am expecting to get more of these type of bookshelf or like the thingy there to keep them, this part that goes into, I don't know what it's called. That's the things that you hang those shelves on. And so I could have like one more wing of books here. But realistically, that's all, because my apartment is very small, and I like keeping it a little bit dark and moody with like paint, with like this dark green on the wall, and and I had on the wall above, like in front of me here, above my TV, I did have my mysteries, my Agatha Christie's and other mysteries, but I actually found that felt too kind of overwhelming. I felt like I was being crushed by my books. So I obviously have them here now, my Agatha Christie. And I've gotten rid of so many books that I now have all my fiction books and some biographies and non-fiction fit in these shelves. And that has always been my goal, to have my book collection be books that I have read and that I've loved and that I want to read again and that I want to look at on my bookshelves and remember how fantastic they are and how much I enjoy reading them. My goal has never been to have full library of books that I haven't read. I find that actually having a lot of unread books gives me anxiety, to be honest, because I'm like, I have to read. And that's not how I want my reading to be. I want my reading to be stress completely without any stress. So, the Read What You Own challenge. This is a challenge hosted by 3 channels. I will list them below. And they have like different tiers. So you can read, I think, is it 10 books for like the tin tier, 25 books, 50 books, 75 books, and 100 books. And I think 100 books, if you read 100 books that you own, that's like the platinum tier. 50 books is the silver tier, and that's the tier that I want to get to. It's a 1-year challenge. I can read 50 books in 1 year easily. I usually read around 100, so that's not a problem. I have about, after all my decluttering and unhauling and kind of rethinking my book collection, I have 63 fiction books on my shelves that I haven't read. So I want to have read 50 of them by this time next year, basically. And I think the way that I'm going to do that, because like I said, I read about 100 books. That's been my average for the last several years. And I think actually even this year I'm gonna still be at around 100 books, even though it's been a crazy year. So anyway, so the way I'm thinking that I'm gonna do it is to have a TBR jar again, and every week or every time I've finished a physical book, I will pick a book from the TBR jar and read that. And I'm also going to be very brutal with DNFing. If I start to read a book, I don't like it in the first couple of chapters, I will just DNF it and get rid of it. Because nobody's got time for that. Like, why would I read something if I don't enjoy it? And I'm also thinking that how I can balance that with the mood reading that I've been doing lately. I've just been loving just picking whatever book, is by having one, if I have 2 books on the go at each time, one book will be from my TBR, one book will be just whatever. And one book will be physical and one book will be audiobook. A lot of the books that I have as physical copies, I also have them as audiobooks. So it doesn't mean that I can't, I will still be able to read them as audiobooks if I prefer. That's just I really find that I just love audiobooks. I mean, they are just fantastic. The best invention ever. So that's what I'm thinking. Because I have Mary Barton now as a physical book and I'm reading the Book of Guilt as an audiobook, I don't need to draw anything from my TBR jar. But I think that's what I'm going to do. So whenever I finish one book, or whenever I finish I don't know exactly how I'm going to do it, because some of my TBR books, I have them as audiobooks as well. Maybe I will have to have again 2, like physical book TBR jar and audiobook TBR jar, and then I can just pick from either one however I'm feeling. We'll see. But anyway, the goal is to read at least 50 of those unread books. And I think my goal, to be honest, is just not to have unread physical TBR. If there are books that I want to read, I cannot get them in my audiobook app. I need to just I want to start to use my library. And just if I then read a book that I don't own and I absolutely love it and I really feel that I can see myself reading it again, and this is a book I want to have in my collection because I love it, and I can then buy it. That was my original goal before I got completely influenced and brainwashed by book hauls on BookTube. So yeah, I think that's gonna be the goal. But we'll see how it works out. I'm also not gonna force myself to read books if I don't want to. But I'm also thinking, if there are gonna be a lot of books still on my unread bookshelves in a year, I think that is probably a sign that I don't really want to read those books, and then I can just get rid of them. I think that's the thing for me to do. But yeah, that's it. So reading Mary Barton, Book of Guilt, loving both of them so far. And I will talk to you again next Sunday. Bye.